Hey guys, and welcome to the install video for Pinball Emporium Release 10. This is going to be a great release for you guys. We have a lot of new features and just an overall improvement of how everything works. So this video is specifically going to go over the install. I'll do another video to kind of go over the features and that kind of stuff, but specifically this is going to be the install video. If you need to know how to install this software, follow along with me and I'll show you how to do it. We're going to go over the basic install that covers everybody first, and then we'll kind of split up in groups and you guys can go to the time code below depending on your display setup. And there'll be a instruction on whether you're doing one screen, two, three, or even three with a DMD. So yeah, I'm super excited to show this to you guys. It's going to be amazing how easy it is to be able to set up a pinball after you watch this. So let's get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go look at the link below and download Pinball Emporium. You're going to see roughly a list of files once downloaded that looks like this. You're going to have your system files, which is the actual software, and then you're going to have your table files. Now, the reason we separated this is so that if you are someone that feels that they do not want to pre-download and have tables pre-set up for them, but would still like to use Pinball Emporium and the media that we provide, you can just install the system and go on as you please. But if you'd like to include all the tables that we've manually have gone through and made sure that work and have taken care of any script issues or any other kind of settings, you can also download the tables that you see below. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to extract these files. Now I'm using WinRAR, that's what I suggest, but you can use whatever you like, 7-zip, etc. So first of all, we have our file here. Here's our system, Pinball Emporium. Now this is a fresh install. You do not want to overwrite an existing version of Pinball Emporium if you have that. So if you have Pinball Emporium 3.6, 3.61, whatever, just put that to the side. We're going to use the new release 10. So in all my other install videos, I've always installed it on a weird drive, on drive X, on drive E, on drive, W, whatever. I've never actually installed it on drive C before. So that's what I'm going to do here. But as I say that, you can install this on whatever drive you like. This does not need to be limited to a specific drive. We do suggest you install it in the root of the drive, but other than that, install it on whatever external drive you have, or put it on the C drive. So we're going to take Pinball Emporium and we're going to drag it over here, and we're going to let this extract. I'm going to come back after this is done. If any pop-ups show up, I'm going to let you guys know, because there may be one and I want to let you guys take a look. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I just want to show you guys this really quick. This may pop up during any time during the install. You'll get a Steam API DLL error, and if you go down to your notification settings, you should be able to see the threat part of this. So we're going to click on this and let it load. We're going to head into protection history. It's not severe. And we're going to go to action, and we're going to tell it to restore it. Once we restore it, we can hit try again, and it will continue with the move. Although it did it again. And we can see on this device, it for some reason just does not like that file. I don't know why. There we go. Alright guys, so we've finished extracting Pinball Emporium. You can see it here on my C drive. And there are all the files we need to get going. So, as I said, if you're someone who does not want to use the included tables, you can right now jump to the install part of the video. But if you are someone that's going to use the included tables, that's what we're going to take care of next. So we're going to open up one of the parts of the tables, well, part one preferably. We're going to let this do its thing. Okay, and as you can see, we just have an emulators folder in here, which matches our emulators folder over here. You want to do this prior to doing any part of the install. It doesn't need to be before the install, but it needs to be before you run the display setup. Or if you add this in later, you need to then run the display setup once again. But we're going to take care of all that now, so it's out of the way. So we're going to take our emulators folder, and we're going to drag it into our Pinball Emporium folder. Be sure you don't accidentally drag it into one of these folders. So, because if you look, as I drag it, you can see, oh, it's going to go in the Joy to Key folder. We don't want that to happen. We want it to just go into Pinball Emporium, so we can drag it into here. If you're not sure, if you want to make sure you don't accidentally do that, you could also, here's our Pinball Emporium folder, here's our emulators, and drag it on top. That's it. We are now installing the tables into the Pinball Emporium system setup. So again, we're going to let that run for a little bit, and as soon as that's done, I'll come back. See you in a minute, or for you a second. Okay, finally done moving all that. That took way longer than I thought. I had time to clean the kitchen and clean some of the garage. I really need to update my pinball machine. Alright, getting all those files moved. Oops, breaking shit over here. Okay, as you can see, we have some overlap files. We are going to let it replace it. You may see this exact number, maybe not, depending on if I choose to do any changes to this. So just hit replace these files. Okay, so we're replacing the files. Maybe. It's really thinking about it. There we go. Okay. So our new total for Pinball Emporium is, I think it's just over 60, which is less than what the previous versions were. So that's a good thing. Yep, 64 gigs, not too bad. All right, now, guess what? We're gonna actually install this thing. So, first things first, here's what your folder should look like going into this. We're not even gonna let you try to launch Pinball Emporium until you've run the installer. So we're gonna head into Installer and Installer. And like I said before, this is gonna be the same for everybody. All right, we are going to do a full install. All right, the first thing it's going to do is run you through the uninstaller. So say you're having problems with your Pinball Emporium, you can actually go through this and uninstall certain things and reinstall to see if maybe that fixes issues. You can choose, if this is your first time doing this, choose to do the full installer. The only time I would suggest not to do the full is possibly if you've already done your pinball, your cabinet code for FX3. But I'm going to show you, even if you do, there will be a backup of your cabinet code once you do this. So I'm going to do the full uninstaller. That's fine. This is a brand new system. So here we go. Okay. Errors are fine because these things just don't exist right now. I don't have these on the system. So if you see an error or cannot find file like that, it's okay. Not a big deal because simply they just do not exist yet, which is just fine. So we're going to let this do its thing. Can't find file. We know that because this is a fresh install. We're not uninstalling anything. So this is currently removing everything. All right, the uninstall has finished. Now, what I want to just show you guys really quick is there is a backup folder. All your registry files, actually these won't be here when you guys do it, but all your previous registry files will be saved here. So if you're having issues and you want to try uninstalling it, your registry files will be saved here before you head back in. So don't worry about don't worry about uninstalling to test something, because you can get your registry files back through your backup folder. Now I just realized that those are all there, so I'll make sure to remove those when I, before you guys get it. But what I can do is I can launch this registry file and get my my cabinet code back entered. So I'm actually going to do that because now my cabinet code's entered. So anyway, back to the install part. All right. Have you downloaded, installed, and logged into Steam? Yes, we have. Have you downloaded, installed, and ran FX3? I don't know if I have, but we're going to go in here. We're going to go into the library. We're going to unlock this. Okay, now I have Steam installed on a different drive. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go to my downloads, Steam, and I'm going to add my D drive because that's where I have my Steam games saved. Now you don't have to do this. You can just keep it in your install. That's fine. Not a big deal. So now, as the install says, have you downloaded, installed, and ran FX3 at least once? So we want to do that now. Okay, I think it's downloaded. Oh, no, that's just doing some other stuff. All right. Let's hit play. Agree. It's going to update some files. Let that do its thing. All right, and I'm going to pause while that's doing that. Okay, here we go. Let's launch FX3 for the first time. Okay, it's doing this thing. Now I'm going to enter my cabinet code. Alright, cabinet code supported. We're good to go. Alright, so I got my cabinet coded. I'm ready to
main menu.
Get this going. Launch this. Now let's exit out of here and continue with the install. Alright, have you downloaded, installed, and ran FX3 at least once? Yes, we have. Alright, now we need to tell Emporium where Steam launches from. So we're going to go to our Finder window, and my Steam, although my library is on the D drive, my Steam is in the x86 folder. So we're going to take that and we're going to drag it into here. We're going to hit enter. All right. Now, if your Steam folder and your library folder are in the same place, you can simply drag your Steam folder into here just like you just did. But that's not the case for us, or at least for me. I shouldn't say for us, for me. So I'm going to go to my D drive. I'm going to go to my Steam library folder and drag it in here. And if you want to be sure, you can head in to your Steam folder, Steam apps. So I'm going to go in here, Steam apps, common, and there is my FX3 file folder. All right. Now, this is the one time you're going to be doing a display setup part during the install part. So how many monitors are you doing? 1, 2, or 3? So depending on what your setup is, choose your choose your poison there. So I'm doing the first setup I'm going to do is 1. So for now, I'm just going to choose 1, and then I will come back later and choose it for the display setups. But whatever you're setting up, 1, 2, or 3 monitors, choose it there. It's going to save some files. All right. FX2 and FX3 is installed. Time for future pinball. All right. At the end of the install, it will ask you if you'd like to launch BAM. We want to choose yes. We want to launch BAM, and then we want to exit. So we're going to hit next. When prompted, install future pinball in the Pinball Emporium. into the Pinball Emporium folder, emulator folder. This is your location. I've already saved it to your clipboard. All you need to do is hit Control V during the destination part. So we're gonna hit continue. We're gonna go to BAM. You're gonna accept. You're gonna accept again. Just as I said, we're gonna delete this file path. We're gonna hit Control V, and it's gonna automatically paste the correct file path in there. We're gonna hit next. Yes, we know it already exists, and we want to overwrite. We're gonna hit yes. We're gonna do a standard installation and hit next. I don't want to create a start, but you can do whatever you want. I don't care. Hit next, and I don't want to join desktop shortcut. All right, this is going to install all its stuff. After that, it's going to give us a checkbox for launching BAM. We're going to let it launch. We're going to hit finish. We're going to load. And we're going to exit out of it. That's it. All right, now we're going to do that one more time. We're going to let it do its thing. So are we ready to run Future Pinball? Once the table runs, exit the table and exit Future Pinball. So I'm going to hit enter. We're going to let Future Pinball and 007 load, but I'm going to turn off the audio. I turned off the wrong audio. I'm going to turn off the audio so we don't get flagged. Well, it's going to pop up on my mic. Oh well. Can I at least turn it down? Alright, there we go. Alright. Future Pinball loaded. That's it. We're ready to go. We don't want to do anything else. We're going to hit escape. We're going to hit escape. We're going to hit enter. It's going to copy some files. We're going to let it do some registry edits. And Future Pinball is all done. All right, Visual Pinball's next. We're going to run through this. All right, if you've done this before, don't install the BAM toolbar. Same thing as Future Pinball. This is the location of where you want to install it. I've already saved it to your clipboard. You're just going to hit Control V during the destination part. Okay, next. Yes, we want to run the VPX6 setup. Next. Again, delete that. Control V. Nope, I think I messed with stuff. Oh no. All right, I hit something. I think because I left the program for a second. All right, but we know where we need to go, so that's where that's what we're gonna do. It should just paste it in there, but for some reason didn't. So we're gonna go. Might as well show you guys how to do this in case you run into this too. Our C drive, Pinball Emporium, and our emulators folder. Don't click Visual Pinball, just click emulators. So when we hit OK, this looks exactly like this. We're good to go. We're going to hit next. We're going to do the DN and leave that how it is. It's about to pop up with a B2S question. Just hit yes and close out of it. We're going to deal with all that later. You don't even need to worry about it. Just don't pay attention to it. It doesn't matter. All right, DirectX, that's fine. Again, don't install the toolbar. We're going to hit next. I'm trying to run through this a little fast because most of this should be pretty self-explanatory to you guys, and all the text is in the dialogue. So just follow along, and you guys should just be fine. All right, hit finish. It's going to do this Microsoft Net thing that says we don't need. All right, do you have a second monitor? Doesn't matter. Hit yes, even though this is technically, I'm doing the desktop version. Okay, hit OK. We're going to close out of this, and we're going to say finish. All right. Just like Future Pinball, are we ready to run it? Once the table runs, we're going to exit the table and hit continue. Or we're going to exit the table and then continue. All right, you're going to get this error, this controller VPS error. You're also going to be asked, are you allowed to run this? Yes, we are. We're going to let the table load, and then we're going to leave, just like before. So there's the table. Such a fun little table, beach bums. We're going to hit escape. And that's it. It has Visual Pinball X run the table, and you've exited. Yes, we have. So we're going to hit next. We're going to hit yes on the registry. Yes on that. Yes on that. Or okay, I mean. All right. VPX is done. All right. Pinup player. Very simple. It's going to do 2 pop-ups if your user access UAC is set up correctly. You're just going to hit yes both times. So we're going to hit enter. We're going to hit yes. We're going to hit yes. Pinup. We just installed Pinup player. We're done. Isn't that exciting? All right. We're going to create some shortcuts for you. Right there. Pinball Emporium and Joy to Key. Now, delete that. I don't want that. All right. Now it's going to ask you if you want to load these up into your startup. So do you want to add Joy to Key and Pinball Emporium to your startup? Do you want to just add Pinball Emporium to your startup folder? Or do you not want to add either? It's up to you. Whatever you choose to do is fine. You can always add it later. You can always run this part again later if you want. So I don't want to add anything right this second, so I'm just going to hit 3. All right, press any key to continue. That's it. We're done. We have installed Pinball Emporium. We are ready to move on to the display setups. Now, this is where we're going to break off in our little groups. Our desktop people, our desktop and single screen people are going to stay with me and continue on this path. If you are using 2 or 3 screens, look down below in the description for where to jump to get to your setup. But everything is installed and ready to go. You just need to set up your displays and you'll be playing. So, all right, guys, head on down below where you need to go. If you're a desktop single screen user, stay here. All right, so I got my desktop people, the ones that just have a single screen setup. Most of you guys are just trying this for the first time, but really want to have the full experience. So that's what we're doing. We have a single screen setup. That's it. Now, you have your option for desktop or cabinet. I would not suggest setting up a cabinet single screen pinball experience. If you just want to do Pinball FX3 and maybe a little future pinball, a single screen cabinet is just fine for you. But if you are someone, you're just not going to get the experience, the good experience if you're a cabinet user with a single screen. So if you're sticking with FX3, you can go into cabinet, but otherwise single screen people should really just be desktop users. And that means landscape. So the way you're seeing it right now, you know, you're not looking at a vertical monitor, you're looking at a horizontal monitor, a normal monitor. So if you want to do cabinet, keep in mind you're not going to get all the best, bang for your buck, but it can be done. I would stick with FX tables though, because they are set up for single screen cabinet use or vertical use, however you want to say it. But anyway, so we're going to choose desktop. Either way, it's going to be the same setup. So whether you're choosing desktop or cabinet, it's going to be the exact same next steps. So I'm going to do D for desktop. We're going to hit enter. It's going to ask you, do you want to determine your display number or ID numbers? Guess what? You are using a desktop monitor. You have 1 monitor. Guess what your number is? 1. Simple enough. So we don't need to do that. We're going to hit no. Okay. Now it's going to tell you, it's going to ask you, are you doing a single setup or a double setup? Now, this is the, single screen desktop group. So that's what we're going to choose. We're going to say we're just using 1 monitor. Now we want to set our monitor resolution. I'm using a 1920 by 1080 monitor. So in the example, here's 1920 by 1080, which is correct for me. So I'm going to do 1920. The height is 1080. That's it. Desktop our orientation is desktop. Our playfield resolution is 1920 by 1080. Is this correct? If it's not, it's just going to let you run through the things one more time, like maybe you accidentally added a 0 somewhere or something like that. But this is correct for us, so we're going to hit yes. All right. Next step is to set up all the programs for desktop and 1920 by 1080. This is going to be so much fun. This is like, it's crazy how cool this is. So we want to do all of these. If you want to if you're just messing around or need to come back in here, you can choose to do one or two programs at a time. Well, no, you can't. You can do one program at a time if you'd like, or just do all of them. I'm going to do all of them because this is just fun to watch. So we're going to hit 1 for all programs, and we're going to hit go. We're going to hit enter. It's now doing its thing in the background. You don't need to do anything. You just need to just sit here and watch. We're going to make some registry changes. And we're done. You have just set up Pinball FX2, Pinball FX3, Future Pinball, Visual Pinball LX, Pinup Video, Ultra DMD for a single screen desktop user. We're done. That's it. Wasn't that simple? So let's go take a look. We're going to exit out of here. We're going to hit 9. Desktop mode is finished. All right, brings you back to the installer. Here you have, again, access to all the things you need to do. We're going to hit 9 again. And now, yeah, we'll leave it at that. We're going to launch Pinball Emporium. All right. There's the brand new intro, guys. And here is Pinball Emporium for the desktop. Now, I'm not going to go through everything right now. I just want to show you guys quickly what it looks like. You know, just like before, you got your tables, things like that. And now you have categories. But the only thing I want to show you guys right now, we'll go through this later, is the epitome of single screen has always been pinup. So let's take a look at that really quick.
Table loading.
We got a nice new loading screen now. But one of the hardest things to do with single screen setup is using the pinup. So we got that all taken care of for you guys once it loads. There we go. You do need to give it a couple seconds for everything to pop into place, but we're all set now. We have our top burner in the top left, we have our DMD, and we have our back glass. We can load in a couple coins and get going. But that's it, guys. You're ready to go. You're ready to play some pinball with Future Pinball, Visual Pinball X, Pinup Video, Pub Packs, all that kind of stuff. FX3, FX2, you are ready to go. So enjoy it. Have fun playing pinball. Come talk to us on the Discord, and we'll see you later. All right, now it's time for my two-screen people. So this is your kind of the setup that we've kind of lived with in the previous Pinball Emporiums, unless you went out of your way to make additional changes. So again, you can set this up as desktop or cabinet. Desktop if you're just at your computer and you have two screens and you want one of them to be the back glass. Cabinet is obviously what the majority of you guys are going to be doing. So we're going to actually choose cabinet. Okay. Do you need help determining your display ID numbers? Now, this really shouldn't be an issue with two screens, but for kicks we can do it. So we're going to just choose yes and see what happens. So I'm going to click yes. All right. Which display do we want to launch? Let's launch the first because it's either going to be one or two. So let's launch one. And this is going to launch a VPX table on the first display. And as you can see, it launched it on this display. So we now know that this display that we're currently on is 1 and the other one is 2. 99% of the time, that will always be the case. For 2 screens at least. 3 screens, it gets a little dicey, but we're done for now. So we're gonna hit done. All right, what's our setup? Our setup is number 2. Monitor 1 is playfield, monitor 2 is backglass. So we're gonna do number 2. All right, this is just gonna kind of go over a couple things with you. Make sure your playfield is from left to right, playfield, backglass. We're not doing DMD or top right now. Make sure each monitor is scaled to 100%. You can look down here, scale is 100%. Click on this guy. Ooh, look at that. It's 150%. I didn't know that. So that could have screwed things up. Good thing I read my directions. All right, 100%, 100%. What's next on here? Your playfield is your main display. We want to make sure it's our main display. Since this is grayed out, we know this is our main display. Yeah, do not use the numbers if they differ from what we just did, which they're the same. Okay, we can close that. We know number 1 is our main display. So we're going to hit continue. So we're going to enter in our dimensions, which mine is 1920 by 1080. The playfield is display 1. The backglass is also 1920 by 1080. And our backglass is display 2. Does it look correct? Cabinet, 1920 by 1080, number 1, and 1920 by 1080, number 2. That looks correct to me. All right. Again, we can double check that our numbers are correct. And now we're going to go ahead and let Pinball Emporium do its thing. So I want to do all the programs. We'll just run it through it for me. So I'm going to hit 1. All right. Pinball FX2 is the only program, knock on wood, that you'll need to do any manual changes to. And I've already done the math for you, so what you need to do is write down these numbers and at some point head into Pinball FX2 and enter these numbers into your cabinet information. All right, some registry changes. Okay. So we will need to copy in some mathematical stuff into our DMD device file. So we're going to do that now. This is simply going to launch a web browser and your DMD device file. So we're going to move our DMD device to the left, and we're going to move our web browser to the right. Now what you're going to do is you're going to enter in your display information into these 4 spots. Your playfield width, your height, your backglass width, and height. That's going to mathematically figure out all the DMD locations for specific tables for VPX. Once you've done that, and you can see, like if we take, this and we go, type in 5, you can see these numbers all of a sudden change. So math is fun. All right, so we're gonna, like it says here, enter in your display information above, paste the information at the bottom of your DMD device file. So we're gonna start here. You can start here if you want. You can actually copy all this. It's not gonna matter. It's not gonna, whether you copy it all or just what I show you, it's gonna give you the same result. So I'm gonna hold Shift down and click here. And so we got all those areas saved. You go edit. Oop, something didn't select right. All right, Control C. I think it's, oh, you can't do it. That's weird. All right, so just hit Control C to copy. We're going to go to the bottom of our DMD device file and hit Control V. And there you go. We now have all our DMD device information in for our 2-screen setup. We're going to hit Control S to save that file. We're going to close this. We're going to close this. We're done in there. All right, now this is going to go over backglass, and it's going to launch VPX and with a backglass to check to see if the current setup is correct. So I'm going to it's going to look a little weird to you guys. I'm going to switch to this view, and now I'm going to hit go. And we're going to let it show us what settings it currently has. All right, and yes, our backglass does look correct. There's a chance, like if it didn't, it would be slightly cut off or things like that. So we're gonna escape out of that. We're gonna get you back down so you can see what I'm doing. And so, did the backglass look correct? We're gonna say yes. All right, and that's it, guys. We have installed Pinball. I'm sorry, we installed the Pinball Emporium for a 2-screen setup. So we're gonna exit out of here. We're gonna exit out of here. And now when we launch Pinball, let me switch to my cabinet view. When we launch Pinball Emporium, it takes time. I love that new intro, don't you guys? And there we go. And now, one cool thing I'm going to show you is we're going to let this like sit for a second. I think this table has one.
I'll give you a treat.
But if we wait long enough, there you go. You now have your rules card on how to play the table. This isn't for every table, but it's for a lot of the tables. So just wanted to show you guys that really quick. And then what you want to see is pinup. Everybody wants to see pinup. And I've actually gone into these tables, and they all now work correctly with a DMD file. And one of the pain in the butt ones was Terminator.
Table loading.
Our nice new loading screen. You know exactly what's going on. I'm so excited for this release, guys. You guys are going to have a blast. There you go. We got the table or the DMD cut out in the top corner. So now we have DMD for every table that's available.
Judgment Day.
Oop. Anyway, guys, that's Pinball Emporium Release 10 for a 2-screen setup. I hope you guys are going to have fun with this. There's a lot of work that went into this, so, come hang out on the Discord, post some videos, post some photos, spread the word, do what you do. So, anyway, take care, guys, and go have some fun. All right, so time for the main event. What you guys have been asking for such a long time. 3-screen support for Pinball Emporium. We're going to do this 2 different ways. It's just like another setup. So this is 3-screen support if you're running, roughly 3 1080p monitors. We're going to take a look at my setup really quick. And so I have my main 1080p monitor. I have a secondary, which is actually running off of a tablet right now. That's 1920 by 1200. And then a third 1080p. Again, we want to make sure that this is set to 100%. Nothing is set to 150. You can very easily see that if all of a sudden one of the tables launches and part of your backglass or part of your DMD is off the table. So I'm going to show you guys really quick what this looks like, on your end, or on my end, I should say. So I have the 3 monitors set up. Let me get to a point that I can see. Here's my backglass. I'm sorry, here's my play field. Here's my backglass. And here's my topper DMD down here. All right, that is how my setup is working. Just so you guys can see when we move on to the install part. Or the show, showing you guys. Anyway, let's get to it. All right, so we are setting up in cabinet mode. Now, this is a great tool we've added in here to help you determine your display numbers. So if we look at this, these are shown as 1, 2, 3. So 1 is my play field, 2 is the backglass, 3 is the topper. Now, I have no idea if that's how they're going to come through, so that's how we're going to check, because those numbers are not always correct. So, yes, we want to determine what's what. And here, let's, again, switch to this view so you guys can see. So, all right, we're going to launch VPX on monitor 1 and see which one loads. Okay, so it looks like our playfield is set to monitor 1, which is good. I mean, it's not bad, but... Alright, now we're going to launch VPX on monitor 2. Alright, so our monitor 2 is going to be, or our display 2 is actually our topper and DMD. That's good to know. So our setup is going to be, we now know our setup's going to be 1, 3, and 1, 3, 2. Hit escape, and just to show you guys, we'll say launch on 3. So even though in Windows it shows it as 1, 2, 3, we're actually going to be 1, 3, 2. There you go. Alright, hit escape. Let's go back to the desktop view. So now we know our setup is 1, 3, 2. So we're going to hit D for done. We're doing our topper, our DMD topper with topper. So that is choice number 3. All right. And again, this is just going over things we kind of just looked at. You want to make sure your monitors are set up left to right, playfield, backglass, DMD, and topper. Each monitor is set to a scale of 100, which we found out that my monitor 3 was not. So you want to make sure all these are set to 100. Your playfield is your main display. You can scroll down here. If this is grayed out and you have your first display selected, you know that's right. So if we click on 2, you can see now we can change it, but we don't want to. All monitors are landscape. That's correct. And as we just found out, we do not want to use these numbers for setting up our setup. So we're going to hit continue. All right, so our playfield is 1920 by 1080, which is monitor 1. Our backglass is, what did I determine? I can't remember. No, our backglass is 1920 by 1200. 1920 by 1200, but that's number 3. And our DMD is also 1920 by 1080, and that's monitor 2. So 1920 by 1081, 1920 by 1203, 1920 by 1082. This is all correct, and we're in a cabinet orientation. I'm going to hit yes. All right. So make sure you're in your right thing. You're a triple monitor DMD with topper. Our numbers are still correct. 1920 all around, 1080, 1200, 1080, 132. All right, so let's do this for all the programs. So we're going to hit 1. We're going to hit enter. And we're going to let it do its thing. Now, FX2 is the one situation where you need to set this up manually, and we have done the calculations for you to set up your DMD and backglass in the right location. So write these down and save them for later. You can also always go back in here and do it again to get your information, but that's what you need. Okay, we're going to hit enter. It's going to do a bunch of things. We're going to do some registry edits. I don't know if that popped up for you guys. All right, now we're going to take a look at the backglass. So there's two versions of the backglass and how they work. What we're going to do is we're going to help Pinball Emporium figure out which one's which. So we're going to switch back to this view. And so we're going to launch the first option. We're going to let this do its thing. All right, our play field's correct. Our backglass is correct. And there's our DMD, it's even correct. So for my situation, everything looks fine. You could run into a situation where your backglass is kind of off-centered or, you know, in between things. And that's where you would go in and do the next option. So if we go back here. So did the backglass look correct? Our answer is yes. That's it, guys. We're done. We have literally set up a 3-screen pinball for lots of tables. So we're going to hit 0 to exit. Display mode is finished. I'm going to hit 9 to exit. And let's go take a look at some tables. So I'm going to switch to the topper, or to this view, the cabinet view, I should say. We're going to go up here. Visual pinball. Oh, it doesn't exist anymore. All right, let's launch Pinball Emporium. Turn down the audio a little bit. All right. We're all set up. We have our playfield, we have our marquee and backglass, and then the bottom right is our DMD image. If you're the marquee, so the marquee is the animated text that just moved. If that is not on your backglass, there is something you need to do. So right now, if this is what yours looks like, go play. If your two monitors are switched, and what we're going to do is we're going to go into the Pinball Emporium folder and we're going to go to settings.config. We can right click on that and you should have an option. We're going to open with Notepad. I have Notepad++, but everyone has Notepad. So again, if your backglass image and DMD topper images are flipped, we need to come into the settings.config and we need to go to screen number 1 and screen number 2 and simply swap these 1 and 2s. So screen number 1 is now going to be 2 and screen number 2 is now going to be 1. There we go. So again, this is only if your marquee video is showing up on your DMD screen. You need to do this because otherwise your topper images will not go to the right monitor. So again, only if your things are flipped. I don't want to save because mine were not. Oop. Let this load so I can get back to the... All right, there we go. we now have 3-screen pinball, and let's go find a putt, a nice putt pack. So I'm on my basic computer right now. It's going to be a little stuttery when you guys see this. I just want to give you guys that heads up. So anyway, let's jump in.
Table loading.
See, look at that nice topper. I don't remember his name. Flynn's son. So we got our table on our left. We got our back glass on the top right. You see there, very stuttery, and then our topper image and DMD below that. Simply add some coins. There you go.
What do you say?
Look how cool that is.
When I hit the arcade.
You're all set to go. With your 3-screen setup. Let's show you guys one other thing. All right. So if you look at Tron right now, if you look at the back glass, we're going to let this sit for just a second. And if you wait long enough, some tables include instruction cards, and they will pop up for you to, get a little extra information about the table and any help that can help you. So that's kind of a cool new feature, one of the cool new features that came with Release 10. A lot of users helped me find those things, so they're the ones that get all the credit for that. But anyway, guys, so that is Pinball Emporium for 3-screen topper setup, topper DMD. You're all done. You got 3 screens for Future Pinball. You got 3 screens for FX3, and, Visual Pinball X, Pinup Popper, or Player. You're just ready to go. So anyway, enjoy playing. Come to the Discord. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you run into any issues. I hope you don't. We have spent months trying to lock this down. Maybe not months, maybe a month, trying to lock this down and getting everything working just right. So I really hope you guys enjoy it, and let me know what you guys think. But till then, we'll see you on the Discord. Take care. Alright guys, so this is my 3-screen setup group that has no topper but has a DMD. Has a full-size DMD 4x1 DMD screen. This was actually a feature that was asked during the setup of Release 10, and we were able to implement it before the release. So we're really happy for you guys to check this out. Alright, so we're in our setup mode. We're going to go to cabinet, because that's what we have. We're going to try that again. We're going to go to cabinet. Alright. Do you need help determining your your display ID numbers? We do, because Windows is not always correct about the way things are set up correctly. The numbers it gives. That was a bad explanation. Don't use Windows display settings to figure out your ID numbers. Use this if you're not sure, or if you're having issues. So we're going to go to yes. All right. Which display would you like to launch the program on? So we're going to switch over so you guys can see everything. We're going to switch to our DMD setup. And now what we're going to do is we're going to tell it to launch on display 1. Okay. Good to know. We have our display 1 is our playfield. That makes life a little easy. Okay, now we want it to launch onto display 2. Oh, so close. So our display 2 is our DMD. Now we know that. So that means we're going to be doing a setup of 132. So now if I tell it to launch a display 3, it should appear on our back glass. It better appear on our back glass. There we go. So our setup numbers are 1, 3, 2. Our setup order is 1, 3, 2. So we're gonna hit D for done. All right. So we are number 4 now. We are a 3-monitor setup, but a DMD only. So we hit number 4. All right. This is just going over some common display issues. So again, we want to make sure our monitors are set up left to right, playfield, backglass, and for us DMD. So that's how we have it. We have our playfield, backglass, and DMD. Oop, you guys can't see that right now. So our playfield, backglass, and DMD. Each monitor scaled to 100%. Make sure this says 100% for all of them. When I set this up, my third screen was actually set to 150%. Your playfield is your main display, so we're going to scroll down. We're going to make sure, on monitor 1, our playfield is checked and grayed out. All monitors set to landscape. They currently are. And as we just found out, we do not want to use the display numbers that appear in our Windows display settings because they are not correct. We are actually 1, 3, and 2. All right, so we're going to hit OK. All right, so now let's enter in our information. Our playfield is 1920 by 1080, and it is display 1. Our backglass is 1920 by 1200, and that is number 3. And finally, for this example, my DMD is going to be 1920 by 1080. Although I know anybody that's doing this right now, I know you guys are like 1280 by 360, I think, usually. So you're going to type in yours. I'm just doing this for the example because I don't have a DMD only screen, but same principles exist for this situation. All right. And my DMD is 2. All right. So to double check, 1920 by 1081, 1920 by 1200, 3, and 1920 by 1080, 2. So that's all correct. We're going to hit yes. And we're just going to run through this. We're going to make sure we're still correct up here. We're doing triple monitor DMD only, cabinet, 1920 by 1080, 1200, 1080, 132. All right, let's do all programs. We're going to hit go. Now, if you have a, Pinball FX2 needs to be set up manually. So we've given you the calculations to do this. All you need to do is take this information and enter it in. Although I'm going to have to check my backglass calculation is not correct. I'm going to look into that. So that'll look correct for you guys. Don't worry. But I can tell that right now. All right. We're going to do some registry edits. All right, as it says here, there's 2 types of installs for backglass depending on the setup. We're going to hit OK to do the first test. Oh, I want to switch to so you guys can see. All right. So, come on, click back in. All right, there we go. Everything looks good. The backglass is correct in the screen. So we know our option 1 is the option we want to take. If your backglass looks cut off, or way cut off, not just like a little bit, like way cut off, you're going to do the second option. So, did your backglass look correct? Yes, it did. All right, continue. And we're done. We have literally just set up. There we go. Sorry, guys. We literally just set up 3 screens for the front end, FX2, FX3, Future Pinball, Visual Pinball X, your B2S server, your Ultra DMD, your pinup, everything. So we're going to hit 0 to exit. We're going to hit 9 to exit. And we are done for now. All right, I'm going to leave that here for a second. So we're going to switch over. We're going to go to Pinball Emporium and launch it. There. Oh, I forgot to show it. Well, we'll look at the intro a little bit. All right. We're done, guys. We're set up. We're ready to go. If you have an issue with the one thing I want to show you guys really quick is, as you can see, my marquee is in the top and topper image is on the bottom. But if you load up and your screens look like this with the marquee on the DMD screen and the topper image on the back glass, we need to make a change. Your programs will work fine, but we need to make a change inside the config file or a setup file. So we're going to exit out of here. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into the Pinball Emporium folder and we're going to go to settings.config. We can right click on that and you should have an option. We're going to open with Notepad. I have Notepad++, but everyone has Notepad. So again, if your backglass image and DMD topper images are flipped, we need to come into the settings.config and we need to go to screen number 1 and screen number 2 and simply swap these 1 and 2s. So screen number 1 is now going to be 2 and screen number 2 is now going to be 1. There we go. So again, this is only if your marquee video is showing up on your DMD screen. You need to do this because otherwise your topper images will not go to the right monitor. So again, only if your things are flipped. And I'm going to go back into Pinball Emporium. And now we're good to go. We have our topper image on the bottom and a marquee, our topper image in our DMD and our marquee in our backglass. So just to show you guys really quick, we're going to load up, we're just going to load up a VPX table really quick. So if we load a GoldenEye, and there we go, guys. We got our playfield, we got our backglass, and we have our dedicated DMD. And this should work for all tables going forward. But there you go, guys. That's how easy it is to set up Pinball Emporium on all your screens. If you have any questions, come head over to the Discord. Hopefully you won't have any issues, but if you do, we're there to help. So anyway, take care and enjoy your pinball machine.